Yep, here's the room, and it's empty and waiting for us as promised. Navia is such a good Now that the serial disappearances case has been solved, no one's going to come after us for it. Why don't we stay and rest up here for a while? Even machines in Fontaine need to stop and recharge now and then. Oh, come on! This place isn't that bad. Besides, how often do we get to stay in an actual base? Oh, fine. Remember that detective story Paimon read before? Well, the author is about to release a new book, so Paimon wanted to buy it as soon as it came out and have a quiet place to read it. Then it's agreed. Come on, let's get some sleep. We'll need to be up first thing in the morning to get in line and buy a copy. Paimon didn't expect that style at all. Even though it's a detective novel, it's also like a social documentary. No! Paimon just spends a bit more time sleeping than you, that's all.
Excuse me, but do you know if the Traveler and Paimon are lodging here?
Huh? Who are you? Paimon doesn't recall seeing you before. Wait, you're not here to give us trouble, are you?
A blonde traveler and a chatty little fairy. Phew, looks like I found the place. Good thing I asked the Spina di Rosula. Seems they sent me the right...
Hey, what do you mean by chatty? Paimon's always careful not to talk too much.
It's an honor to meet you both. I was sent from the Palais Mermonia. Monsieur Nourillet wishes to see you. It seems he has some...
Nourillet? He wants to see us again already? Huh. We talked so much the last time we met. Has something...
I am not privy to the details. It would be best if you came to the Palais Mermonia and asked Monsieur Nourillet in person.
If you say so, but...
Now that I've delivered the message, I'll take my leave.
Thanks! We haven't left the room for a few days, so we'll head over once we've freshened up a bit.
So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body double. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache, but however this turns out in the end, the one thing it won't be is boring.
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this one. Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one. Could you clue us in?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. I guess you wouldn't know about it. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. The story goes like this. 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine. Known only as the Weasel, nobody knew his true identity, and the authorities never managed to catch him.
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those mysterious night birds.
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our weasel targeted whatever people held dear, and no one was safe from his predation. He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work wonders for his public reputation. Every man and his dog wanted to see him behind bars.
Yeesh. So, did they catch him?
Not exactly. There's a good chance that the weasel would still be at large to this day if it hadn't been for an accident. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botched high-altitude escape performance. When the police went through his personal effects, they found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. And sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious thief has once again issued one of his warning letters and pasted it on the gate of the Opera Epiclese for all to see. I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here, it's this one.
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Let's see what he wrote. 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the opera house.
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. After years of laying low, the Phantom Weasel, what once seemed like an open and shut case, has been blown wide open again. But why has he reemerged now? And what does he want?
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted? Aww. But Paimon doesn't want to get kidnapped. Well, he'd have to go through you first. You would stop him, right?
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the Phantom Weasel's reappearance. Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes. Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. It does feel like something is missing, though. Something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Lenny!
Magic, magician, Caesar! The Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lenny! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have in common? They both have an air of mystery about them. Perhaps there's a connection there.
Are you serious? What sort of a deduction is...
Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning.
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy, which means we can read other...
Really? Then, what am I thinking now?
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist in your mind, as if to say, no, I mustn't let him guess it.
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. like you're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. But the more you try to hide, you snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell? Oh boy.
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home.
All right, got it. Bye, Mr. Magician.
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you looking for me? What's...
Well, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy is quite beyond me.
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based that, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. He made it easy for me. You guys, on the other hand, let me guess. Don't tell me you're here for the Phantom Weasel, are you?
Wow, got it in one!
Wait, really? No trickery this time. It was pure luck. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around about that.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom Weasel. So, Linny, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's reappearance?
To be honest, it makes me angry.
Angry? Why?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House. That's the night I'll be performing there.
What are the chances? Wait a minute, you don't think he's after you, do you?
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge to me personally. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge headache for me. The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely any... But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice.
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel?
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel...
You're being far too modest, Linny. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable than those of...
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to say, I don't care much for the comparison. A lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But there's an important difference that these people... Allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
Здарова, здарова.
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear.
Так нифига у тебя время-то. Что там получается? 6 утра. Да, мне надо часы на Твиче отстримить. Поэтому вот решил сюжетку проходить, да. Часы накручивать заодно.
An outstanding trick! Sorry, Linny, it seems that my previous praise was woefully inadequate.
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to perhaps change some of the preconceived notions you might have about magicians. Since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality. It can be quite frustrating.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well versed in floral symbolism? For example, magicians often use flower-related performances to represent passion and romantic encounters. But you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious to know if there was any deeper meaning behind this choice.
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're
Да,
such a
надо
successful journalist. But it
часы
sounds like something I
накрутить
should
на
look into,
Твиче.
though.
Ну, типа эти.
I'll buy myself a copy of...
Well, no.
Время
In that
стримов.
case, this brings us to the
Чтоб
end of our
событий
interview.
там
Please
30
feel free
часов
to
надо
contact to
отстримить.
update me on any further
А я только
developments.
половину сделал
Otherwise,
пока.
I will, of course, see you at your show in 3 days' time.
Поэтому решил сегодня
Hopefully
пораньше
the weasel
запустить и
caught by then. If there's
подольше
nothing else, then
трансляцию
I'll be off.
провести.
You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write that exclusive piece. I'll see you all
Спи
later.
давай, еще рано так. У тебя-то вообще 6 утра получается.
So, Lenny, are you gonna tell us how you did that flower trick now?
I'm afraid that's my little secret.
Спасибо, Игорь, за пожелания.
Well, magicians are entitled to their secrets. But Paimon's really... You feel it too, right?
Кстати, что там? Ты пробовал стримить вчера? Папка, как новое железо? Лучше, чем старое? Я надеюсь, что лучше.
Not so itchy then, huh?
Жесть.
Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my temporary magician's assistants?
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
Excellent. Thank
Да
you
ну
for putting
нахрен,
your
я
trust
ОБС
in
не
me.
настроил толком. Там вообще все слетело. Блин, жесть.
The first thing we need
Ну
to
а
look
так в
into
папку
is
играл,
whose
ну я
Caesar
видел
was.
в
If he
Дискорде,
truly
что ты в
was
папку
the
играл.
Phantom Weasel, that means that the
И
weasel
чё,
is
как?
dead, and whoever wrote
Лучше,
this
хуже?
warning letter is just
Ну,
a copycat criminal.
хуже-то
But
вряд ли,
if he
конечно.
wasn't the weasel? Well, that'll make things more interesting. It would mean that and if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often, so I asked
Ладно,
Lynette to
вру,
wait for
хоть
her there.
минут 20 еще полежу. Ну
We should
там,
make a move. Let's go and rendezvous with Lynette.
типа, сейчас идет событие стримов в Геншине. О. И если 30 часов отстримить, там примагемы, короче, дают. Я вот это третье событие, в котором участвую. В первом что-то 1800 начислили. Во втором 1100. Ну, то есть халявные примагемы. Сейчас это ежедневки сделать, чтобы они не маячили. В папку играть вообще кайф. Ни лагов практически, ничего такого. Я запускал стрим в PUBG, в танках, в Дискорде, вообще без разницы, что есть, что нет стрима, загрузку. О, ну вот, слушай, да, круто. Ты, Игорян, тоже железо купил, что скидывал, да? Прям быстро все. Класс. Подожди. Блин, вон одна осталась. Я говорю, ты тоже железо купил, что скидывал? Ну, вот. Тогда ты скидывал список, которого собирал, ну, типа это, Intel Core i5, эту материнку. Те, которые скидывал, да? А, еще и без перебоя. Ну, короче, ты это, неплохо так обновился.
Here comes the catch. Busted.
My guiding stars.
Teamwork is true. Time for a light show.
Ну, блин, дольше проказ сделал. Чтобы они жили. Память взял на 1 терабайт. А память в смысле SSD-шник? Или жесткий диск обычный? Вечером не знаю.
Up, up and away.
Да, вечером вряд ли, наверное, не знаю. А может буду. Там часы, блин, надо накручивать. Посмотрим, как сегодня пойдет.
The night is cold.
Ну, как сейчас, сколько простримлю.
Things are about to get dicey.
Сейчас в телегу скину. Вот. Сейчас гляну. Ой, SSD-шник на 1 терабайт. Сетевой фильтр, бесперебойник. Охренеть сумма, конечно, блин. Ну, посмотрим. Вообще я типа не это не планировал. Но сейчас думаю, что, наверное, надо. Бля, да.
Quietly now.
My guiding stars.
Busted. Game's up. Fun's over.
The night is cold.
I'm going in. Fire hazard.
Все, с возвращением. А, ты на парах? Нифига. Ну надо, Игорян, блин. А то, блин, эти преподы, они же люди обидчивые, к ним не ходишь, они обижаются потом. У меня частенько такая хрень бывала на парах. Когда сидишь и понимаешь, что ты вообще ничего не понимаешь, что там тебе рассказывают. Да,
Astra,
такая жизнь.
thank you for
Частенько приходится себя через силу что-нибудь заставлять делать. 150. Купится потихоньку. Так, а... Ладно же это доделать-то. Понимаю.
You took your
У
time.
нас похолодало, и, короче, туманище прям на улице. Я выходил с собакой гулять сегодня. Прям туман такой жесткий.
Sorry, I bumped into the traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for a while.
It's been a while, Annette. We're working as Lenny's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom.
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen Gemma?
Nope. I've been here a while, and she's...
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Traveler, Paimon, let's go ask around.
Бальтазар.
Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know a Gemma?
Уголь.
Jeff?
А много там?
You mean Caesar's fiance? Sure I do. What's this about?
I'm just trying
У
to
вас
get a
там
hold
что,
of her
рассвет?
because I need her help with something. I heard she
Красиво,
comes here
наверное.
a lot.
6 тонн, нахрен.
Yeah,
Бля,
she
ну это
does. Ever
на
since
целый
Caesar
вечер,
passed away,
наверное.
she's been coming here. I asked her what she was
Там
doing.
просто
She said
кидать или это?
she wanted to s- She knows he's gone and
Таскать не приходится?
She's been doing this ever since.
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his... I don't know if the mind
У
lives
меня у
on in the
бабули,
waters
короче,
after
было
death.
раньше так, что
If it does,
к
I'm
углярке
sure Caesar must be grateful to have someone who remembers him fondly.
это машина подъехать не могла и вываливала. Там еще метров 10 надо было таскать. И, короче, прикинь, там каждую осень по 6 тонн угля ведрами тупо. Блять, как это сердечко убрать? Оно не мешает. Ну, валуны кувалдой разбивай, да и все. И, ну, либо для бани откладывай в сторону, потом в баню перетаскаешь. Или кувалдой на поменьше все равно разбивать придется.
If I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiance was a low-life crook.
Уголь же он
She
легкий,
doesn't
ну,
deserve
типа.
someone like her.
Там даже если здоровый валун, ты его кувалдой на части разбил поменьше, да и все.
Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Normally, she'd be sitting in front of his grave by now. Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid. You might have more luck asking some other people.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us. We'll keep asking around.
You're welcome. I just hope she'll be able to move on one day.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. I can never tell what's true, but what if? Just hypothetically, I mean. What if this weasel's the real deal and Caesar was framed?
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave balloons.
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You were all...
Чё? Линий
"That
только
gosh
убедился?
darn
Ты
lousy
про
son
чё?
of a- You think you know a guy, or words to that effect.
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help but notice
А,
you were discussing the
ЗЛ,
Phantom Weasel.
задание легенд, точно. Да, это его задание.
We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it. Do you think you could spare a moment to tell us a little bit about Caesar?
Я помню, один раз такое было, как ты говоришь, у меня двор есть, от дороги метров на 30 примерно, может. Ну, помню, когда я еще в школе учился. Да, это жесть.
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. Back when Caesar used to perform magic tricks on the street. He was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon.
У бабули еще, короче, двор был это, на склоне. И там таскать ведра полные приходилось в гору.
I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me,
I saw him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his Sometimes, he even got the kids to write their wishes down, and then he'd make the items on the wish list appear in his next show.
Ну да. Там не то чтобы прям типа круто, но так, нормально.
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people, with the intent to steal it later. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about anything from anyone.
Whatever the case,
Не знаю.
now that the weasel is back,
Может, все
I bet
вместе.
Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared,
Ну еще и рано,
finally give her some
так
stuff
что
to speak of the devil.
неудивительно.
That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one to ask.
So that's Gemma. Is it just Paimon, or does it look like something's wrong?
Угу.
Wait, it looks like she's injured. Come on, let's see if she's okay. Hi there. You're Gemma, right?
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured. How bad is it?
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question.
My name is Linny, and this is my sister Lynette.
Давай, Игорь, давай.
We're investigating the Phantom Weasel.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing, we'd love to hear what you think of... I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we can...
I never believed that he was the Weasel.
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years...
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right. Sorry for disturbing you.
Прикольно лежать под разными
Don't have any
голосами.
more questions. Please leave.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole decade ago. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow, and then we'll start the next step of our plan.
Да вы задолбались своими заданиями. Непростое чаепитие. Блять. Нахрен я открыл это задание легенд. Сейчас будут друг другу мешать. С одного на другое перепрыгивать. Ну, я говорю, буду туда-сюда прыгать. С одного задания на другое.
We're here! Did you want to see us about something? Huh? Why were you just standing there? You daydreaming or thinking something over?
Yes, I did send someone to fetch you. But as for what I'd like to discuss next, well, I still have some reservations.
Given that we've already made the trip here, you should just tell us. Bet you need us to help you with something, right?
I do indeed have something I'd like to ask you to do. However, you should wait until after I tell you the details, then decide for... The situation is this. It has come to my attention that the Snezhnayan harbinger known as the Knave wants a diplomatic meeting with you, correct? I heard that she was originally from Fontaine, but for her to suddenly arrive here and abruptly request such a meeting like this...
Слуга это... Как она? Арлекина?
I sincerely advise you to refuse her invitation outright.
Да я не знаю, ну типа она мне не очень нравится.
I'm sure you're aware that her purpose is most likely...
Очень не нравится, ну типа внешка ее. Да и характер что-то поначалу, как показали ее, тоже как не очень.
But we have yet to provide any form of detailed report on the matter. This does indeed provide an opportunity for Snezhnaya to put pressure on us. I believe we should adopt an evasive stance until we can provide a proper explanation and have a preliminary plan on how to deal with the matter.
No, we shouldn't. I think we should agree.
Oh?
Well, you see, we are the ones that owe an explanation. If we keep putting off the meeting, it could easily result in the problem
Типа слуга в
escalating,
фату и
right?
отец в доме.
It's like a fight between two friends. If they don't agree to see each other and talk in person, isn't it possible that the friendship could end entirely?
Though diplomatic relations between Fontaine and Snezhnaya could be considered as friendly, it is only superficially so. You wouldn't go so far as to say that our nations are friends.
It was just an analogy. An analogy, okay?
Да, дом очага.
Moreover, even if we were to talk in person, if we don't have sufficient information prepared, it is quite possible the result wouldn't be restored relation.
I don't think we should overthink those possibilities yet. Even if the logic of the divine is not immediately apparent, its wisdom will only be revealed with time. Besides, you'll be at the meeting. If any problems do pop up, you'll have no problem navigating them.
I must clarify that interacting and communicating with people outside of court is not my cup of tea. But more importantly, when did I agree to join the meeting with you?
You mean you won't come? No, that won't do. I can't go to the meeting alone. You have to accompany me. I must take you with me.
Lady Farina, could there be something else regarding this matter that is being kept from me?
No, not at all. Look, I am the Hydro-Archon of Fontaine, Focalor, the god of justice who is loved and adored by many. So I only hope that justice will be served in this matter. Don't overthink it. I'll go find someone to arrange the meeting.
Though it could officially be considered a
Арлекино.
diplomatic conference, I prefer to see our meeting today as an ordinary tea party. I assume you see.
Да, у нее
some
пироглаз,
way, Miss
точно. Блин, она классная. Номер 4 из предвестников. Высокая. Высокопоставленная.
Lady Farina?
Yes, that's right. Just like you said, a tea party. I should thank you for providing the pastries. They look delectable.
Мне тоже понравилось, кстати.
To make this tea party even more lively, I've invited someone else to join us today.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Блин, она
Sir.
классная.
Yes.
Точно,
I
ее
was
надо
born
будет
in Fontaine,
выкручивать.
so naturally, there's no need to introduce the nation's revered Eudex to me.
Hello. The pleasure is also mine.
First, I would like to thank the two of you. I'm often away on business outside of Fontaine, and I'm told that the children of the House of the Hearth have been well taken care of by you. Oh, I'm not referring to when my children, Linny and Lynette, were falsely accused by you. Please don't misunderstand.
Моих линий или нет.
The children of the House of the Hearth are often misunderstood, perhaps due to the reputation of the Fatui. There's no getting around that. All I meant to say is that Fontaine has been stable in recent years. The people are well off and the children lead happy, fulfilled lives. That is something truly worth cherishing, and no one wishes to disrupt such peace.
Now then, you have come regarding the matter of child, correct?
Well, yes.
It appears the ever-busy Udex Nouvillette doesn't wish to waste time with diplomatic pleasantries, and hopes that we can get straight to the point of our talk. Yes, as you surmised, understanding child's situation is indeed one of the goals of this trip.
Ну, я не знаю, смотря какие.
As we are both diplomats from Snezhnaya, as well as Fatui harbingers, Child and I have always been colleagues. Were anything to happen in Fontaine, each of us would serve as the other's attorney to resolve the issue. So now, in my capacity as his attorney, I request that Child be turned over to Snezhnaya.
The rules governing attorneys only apply before a trial has concluded. Since a verdict has already been rendered, we see the case as settled. I apologize for being unable to...
An outright refusal. Very well. I respect all the rules of Fontaine's courts, just as I respect you. Okay, why don't we back up a step? You don't need to transfer Child to us. I only request to enter the fortress of Meripede to see Child and confirm... It's not like you couldn't even manage to fulfill a simple request like that. Right, Miss Farina?
About that.
The fortress of Meripede has always been completely autonomous. Even we have no authority to interfere there, and diplomatic issues do not suffice as an excuse. However, if you absolutely must confirm the situation of the Harbinger...
Блин. Хочу Арлекина. Ну, в смысле, в отряд. Ну, Хома... Не знаю, чё, я вот на Сяо поставил, меня вполне устраивает. Пока на Сяо стоит. Ну, копейщик это круто. У меня уже 2 критовых копья на аккаунте есть. Я не знаю, когда она будет, блин. Не хотелось бы сейчас все крутки солью, и она как раз выйдет, и я пролечу.
Yes, thank you for your kind advice. I'm well aware of the situation. I also noticed that Lady Farina acts a little odd and unnatural whenever I bring up matters.
Could the knave be threatening Lady Farina or something?
If that were the case, then why wouldn't Lady Farina inform me? And what means could the knave possibly have to twist the arm of an...
So maybe that's not very likely. Even though Farina...
Ну, кстати, смотри, тут у них... Ща, Пайман заткнется. Типа у них же все персонажи выходят фонтейнские, у них одна и та же механика. Типа у них происходит какое-то усиление, когда тратится ХП. А у Хомы тоже там есть свой баф, он силу атаки раздает от потери ХП. Так что мне кажется, если она действительно будет копейщиком, то Хома, наверное, может и встать на нее. Ну, там, конечно, вилами по воде писано, но будем надеяться.
The details are still unclear. We cannot rule out an escape, but there have also been no reports of him outside of the fortress of Meripede. Special guards oversee the fortress, and its internal systems are extensive. Combined with the special characteristics of the surrounding terrain, an escape should not be possible. I suspect that I was only willing to share this information with you because you are friends of Child, and it is my...
So this is what you wanted to see us about before?
Yes. I would like you to go to the Fortress of Merib. This was my proposal during our meeting with the knave. Rather than allowing her to intervene, I offered to send someone to find out about. The knave did not seem satisfied by my proposal, but she still agreed to go along with it for the time being.
So that means we bought ourselves some time.
Firstly, you're already acquainted with Child. Your eyes may discern relevant details there that... And secondly, is the consideration...
Isn't it just Fontaine's prison?
I would not define it so crudely. The Fortress of Meripede is not affiliated with the court system of Fontaine on paper. Early in Fontaine's history, criminals were punished with exile, not imprisonment. Even today, sentences against convicted criminals still include exile. The Fortress of Meripede may seem like a prison, but it should in fact be regarded as all we do is dispatch guards to keep watch and help maintain security. But we have no right. Although I do have a personal relationship with the administrator there, neither myself nor the courts have the right to be directly involved with the investigation.
Oh, Paimon gets it now. That's why you need us to conduct our own investigation.
Correct. I will arrange false charges against you so that you may secretly investigate. So, are you two willing to accept my proposal?
Yeah, no matter how you look at it, it seems we're the best choice. All right.
You two have my sincere thanks. This matter is of critical importance to Fontaine's current situation. Also, we will rendezvous at the Fortress of Meripede's entrance on Irenaeus once you've prepared yourselves. I will arrange for someone to take you in.
Prepared ourselves? Is there something we need?
Perhaps you could enjoy a good meal and have a nice bath. I'm afraid that living conditions inside the fortress are nothing like those on the...
Oh, right! Even though we'll be there on trumped-up charges, on second thought, is it too late to back out?
Please do not worry. Since you are sacrificing both your time and quality of life for the sake of delivering this report, you will be compensated according to the highest standards permitted to legal staff.
Now that's more like...
По самым высоким стандартам. Там немножко примагемов, моры и книжек. В стандарты, конечно, в Тайвате такие себе. Еще и пирог дал. Вот вам 5000 примагемов. Я надеюсь, это компенсирует все неудобства. Пирог возьмите. В общем, они могут просто дать ей играть чисто от ХП, а так бы Хома подходил, он был бы выгодно и на оружку выпросить. Ну, типа... Ну вот будет чуть-чуть пассивки работать. Ну что, только бонус атаки, не будет бонуса атаки. Ой, я уже сам забыл, что я говорил. Так, мне надо уже задание. Понятно. Я говорил там, что награды у них в Тайвате какие-то жидовские. Типа, ну, все время мы вам щедро вознаградим по самым высоким стандартам. А по факту немножко примагемчиков, чуть-чуть моры и все. Ну, типа, что за стандарты такие?
Was pretty good. But as soon as Paimon remembered that we were about to go to prison, Paimon's stomach suddenly became completely empty. Now that Paimon thinks about it, We've always been super careful ever since we arrived in Fun, but here we are, about to willingly send ourselves. Let's just try our best to investigate everything quickly once.
Oh, what is that I hear? Is it the taste of a breaking story?
Hey! You can't hear a taste! And what are you—
Oh, don't remind me. I invited an eyewitness to a case to eat here, and I was planning to get some great material. Calm down, calm down. This is nothing new. As a journalist, you should be used to this by now. And as long as you can score some juicy tidbits from the traveler, you might still—
You know we can still hear you, Charlotte.
О продуктивности сегодня и речи быть не может. В плане.
Never mind. It's nothing. I just heard you mention the Fortress of Meripede. You didn't commit a crime, did you?
No way! We would never! We're just going there to, Oh no, Paimon almost forgot that Neverlet told us to keep it a secret!
Huh? You're being arrested for that? Oh. But now that I think about it, I suppose that's not completely unreasonable. That's pretty despicable. Almost as offensive as committing theft.
По вызываемому отвращению ваш поступок можно сравнить с воровством.
You mean Paimon really did something that serious?
Ну да, может быть и так, кстати.
Sorry, Paimon really messed up.
Well, in that case, it's nothing particularly newsworthy after all. Oh, how— Oh, right. There's still a chance. Since you're going to be at the Fortress of
About that, Paimon doesn't—
No, it's nothing difficult. All you have to do is think of a way to get some time face-to-face. He was awarded the honorary title of Duke in Fontaine. Sounds really cool, huh? Only those who have made significant contributions to the nation have been conferred this title. It's incredibly rare. On top of that, the Fortress of Meripede has never been under the jurisdiction of the courts. Practically nobody, including journalists like— Oh, if I could write an exclusive article about him, I bet it would sell a
You make it sound easy, but—
Of course! I wouldn't ask you to do it for free. So this meal is on me.
Alright, you got a deal. We'll do anything you want.
Пайман. Обстановка. Да, чё, сюжетку прохожу потихоньку. Спать охота.
Wait, just how much did you order?
Paimon's so full. Well, guess we have nothing to regret now, so let's get going.
Так, чё, вернуться к этому? Все равно не могу. Понимаю. Буду ОБС настраивать. Давай, удачи тебе в этом нелегком деле. Кстати, а у вас группа большая? Ну, типа, с тобой на пару много народу ходит? Около 100? Нифига. Человек 7, офигеть. Ни хрена себе. Подожди, я правильно иду вообще? Ну, для гаочки, мне кажется, много.
All right, Nervalect, we're ready. Is this where the entrance is?
Да, это много. Типа, у нас на очном было вообще 25 человек группа. А на заочном не знаю.
You have come, just as promised. Yes, this is the one and only entrance to the fortress of Meripede from Irenaeus. Careful. You may want to step back a bit.
Whoa! So you have to go down from here? Is the prison underwater?
Utilizing both the barrier of the water as well as the fear humans have of the depths, the fortress of Meripede is naturally the perfect place to... But do not worry. It is not nearly as frightening inside as you may think. You will see for yourselves once you are down...
Paimon hopes you're right. Don't know about you, but just thinking about...
Oh, and there's one more thing. I mentioned that I have had personal dealings with the administrator of the fortress, Writhsley. He's a very...
Yeah, we heard about him too. He's that Duke.
Correct. He is the highest-ranking manager of the underwater prison. Even though you are going there to investigate at my behest, the Duke rarely ever leaves the fortress of Meripede. But that does not mean he is not privy to all that is happening inside and outside the fortress. He is quiet, but not... All right. That's about all the time that we have to talk privately. I'm counting on you two.
Давай, Гарен, тебе тоже. Всего удачи.
Good. Madeline.
I'm here, Monsieur Nervalette. These two are the newest convicts, I presume? Don't worry, they won't...
Like we would try.
Please follow me, you two. I'll process your paperwork for entering the fort.
О, какая штука. Первый раз такое вижу. Давай. Приятного тебе там в Кефасе. Я вот в Кузню ездил тоже. В Кефас заходил.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be
Ну, поздравляю. Ты смог.
Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's former pupil. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned though, I hear he's got a hair-triggered temper. We'd best be careful.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along.
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
ненадолго ты встал.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Linny.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things to do than drinking.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled to do. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be fun?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one
possibility. It's a fact, Linny. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully while I'm still willing to put up with you. The weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere.
Так, сдается мне, вот этот типа есть горностай, он типа своего шефа подставил. И, короче, подставил, чтобы его, типа, его дело, короче, ну, его место занять.
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But this isn't about my pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the gauntlet, and I must meet their challenge head on.
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me what exactly are you...
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's
true identity. Ты сегодня на Олимпиаду, да?
I have to know for
Если я
myself
правильно
what really
помню.
happened 10 years ago.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any case, dead men don't talk.
Интересно, как отреагируешь на развязку. Посмотрим. Ну, удачи тебе, кстати, на Олимпиаде. Давай там первое место, чтоб занял.
This is getting awkward.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that big...
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on! You can't be all business all the time. You know what they say? Live fast!
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it now.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Oh, hey! Edmondo. He and I are business pals. We work together. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul mouth. And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being... What?
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again. Do I make myself clear?
Ну, желаю тебе, чтобы попались только хорошие задания.
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to do.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Linny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion.
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? Why would someone you just met make an offer? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious, but this guy's definitely covering something up.
I think so.
Ой, я не знаю. Я вообще планировал сегодня долго постримить. Но что-то мне уже так это утомило все. Поэтому даже не знаю сколько. Часок-то еще, наверное, точно, а там посмотрим.
You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I say way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete financial ruin.
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off? Ugh, Paimon knew he was a bad egg.
Событие? Событие, оно, по-моему, во вторник заканчивается. Или в среду. Вот мне надо успеть за это время еще часов 15 стримов провести.
Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen to people who have...
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this conversation. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know what... That's not a good sign. You're too young for this. Don't get in over your head.
And there he goes.
Shh. I think we're being watched. Someone was listening in to our whole conversation.
Ну, это эти люди в черном.
Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. We better take this elsewhere. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and...
So you're Lenny. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today?
Гладколицый почина.
Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Да, до хрена надо стримов.
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers.
Looks like we can't avoid this. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me.
Don't worry, we got this.
Gotcha. Things are about to get dicey.
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Да.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work like it did on the lady.
Come on, let's
А тут не то, что как бы против желания, типа, мне просто уже сюжетки Геншина поперек глотки стоят, и не очень охота их проходить. Типа, было бы чем заняться помимо сюжеток, я бы, может, с удовольствием это делал.
Did you catch what they said just before they left? Something sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic, and they've already done it to someone else. You're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys had...
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up to us once she learns that those thugs won't be bothered. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information from her.
Чистить карту, блин, тоже. Я тут перед выходом Фонтейна очень плотно занимался зачисткой. Да и сюжетку надо проходить. Мне надо эти открыть. Второй уровень репутации, чтобы уже задание репутации открылись здесь, в Фонтейне. А то уже Фонтейн вышел, фиг знает когда, а у меня до сих пор там первый уровень.
Gemma?
You again. What is it?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you can.
What? Why?
Sounds like they're no strangers to.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all. It's been 10 long years. And still, every time I try to look into Caesar's death, how do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of it?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups lurking around. If you're serious about going there...
Understood. Lynette, you stay...
Got it. But if I'm staying here,
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too. They're likely to come...
Okay. Alright. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking...
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Looks like these boxes are blocking the entrance. Let's shift them away first. There we go. It should...
Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
Busted. Gotcha.
disappear.
Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. There's a distinct lack of mystery. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe, aha! If I...
A secret passage!
I'm a magician too, and looks pretty big inside. Let's head...
Busted. Here comes the catch. Everybody stand back! Let's get this show on the road!
Давай, давай. Удачи тебе.
Cole, lines of command.
And voila!
Да, бывает такое.
Why have you stopped, Lenny?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go up. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's...
All right, see you in a bit.
Блять.
Seems like we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh?
Я гений. Блин, ну серьезно.
Wow! There's a hidden room here! This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek and...
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled as a joke. I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, so I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. I now have a big... 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I've never... I told them that learning magic is very hard work. But that didn't faze them at all. It's like they already knew. They seemed... It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. But surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really doing is helping them develop a more professional... They wanted to call me master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. Compared to them, with time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the 2 kids if they'd like... I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other plans for them. It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but they're very tough, but also very cautious. And they trust no one but each other. They hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live and why they wanted to learn magic, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something, I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous too. They're not after thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only known 10 days to lecture them like that? P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said.
Ну да, у меня 12, у меня что, 11.
Oh, Caesar, Caesar. Just mind your own business next time.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar when they were kids? Let's go ask Linny!
Не успеешь поиграть, и что тебе? Куда-то надо идти.
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in...
Fishy? Uh-oh, what have you found?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to... First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air, and a short while later, At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's... Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their... Oh no! Is that me?
Very vivid description. Paimon...
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has... Of course, that's just how I think the process... The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell out, and not the dummy. He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive that fall. Not without a and no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on...
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that dangerous, it's... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the real magician go? How does he...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box... From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a seat. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and...
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling the audience's mood and reactions. That takes an exceptional degree of showmanship.
После больницы поиграешь?
There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe
Это задание легенд Лини.
tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression that there's no escape. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long. But Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
На стрим. Ну,
But unfortunately,
может, вечером еще буду стримить. Ну, не знаю пока.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fish...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And, sure enough, he always used...
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact... Because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of... But a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will. So the essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the more difficult to mask. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic always requires sacrifices. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he set his gap exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret door and make a swift escape. But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. He'd barely need to think. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and suddenly, much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind, instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two. Until, with the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authorities would find nothing
When in reality, someone switched the... But how would they be able to make the switch?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around without arousing... Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, but I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the lady, but you disappoint me.
You mean Gemma? So you are the one who's been...
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you, which is why you can't leave this place.
Do your worst!
Ну, я так и думал, блин.
Gotcha. Things are about to get dicey.
Not now.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
Now disappear! Here! Here!
My guiding stars. Stars.
Here comes the finale. Step right up. Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking, and what I...
If I had a mora for every time you said that man's name. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art it is today. The aristocrats doffed their hats to...
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him. Never bothering to think about Mora. But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second look. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own brand of money, I had to kill him. There was no other way.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I...
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance, maybe...
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next question.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insists I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all kinds of valuable treasures.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how much he was worth.
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft? It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous image they then dubbed the
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope...
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never...
Very well. In that case, Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo for me.
Я так и думал.
Lily has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to framing him?
Look who's... What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny? Should we...
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody...
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away.
You're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation.
That's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now. But try to eat a more balanced...
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him in...
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I still didn't know. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but I...
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you, but you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. But I had people watching me all the time, so I couldn't risk I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me, and then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that they were a problem. To think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time, while Caesar's name was getting dragged through the mud. It's a travesty. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now.
If only I...
Don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live. Caesar...
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? This show will be a special one. We're holding it
in Caesar's honor.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna Wait. Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary!
Жить. Понимаю.
Works are for now, but friends are forever.
Да ничего. Почти закончил, видать, задание легенды. Сижу, вот мне что-то в сон клонит.
Paimon's excited to see another of Linny's magic shows! Wait. Lynette, shouldn't you be on stage by now?
Рекомендую сон.
Not this time. My brother's going solo today, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. Caesar was so... How did you
Well, I was out on this children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. And somehow, I felt drawn to him too. So...
Aw, that sounds so romantic.
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand, snap. I was so...
Oh, that's so cute!
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. So let's treasure the time we have with him. After all, you never know when the people dearest to you might be gone.
That's right. It's all over now. Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but at the very...
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what?
Чего? Вы чё?
The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom?
As Linny once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, It's time to end the show. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act?
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paima doesn't like where this is going. Come on, say something!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying. There will now be a brief intermission, after which Linny will the final performance will take place outside of the Opera House. So please.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places. Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Как все было на самом деле. Вот это поворот.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid this is a big mistake for a magician to make. But thankfully, I do have a
Lenny? Don't we have more important things to it? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago.
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking.
Really? Well then, let's hear it.
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine. She never missed a target, never left a trace, But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. She would create... After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities for people.
So then what?
Being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him for her countless crimes. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil. And a new thought. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. It's enough, but I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain.
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing, but I never believed that he was the weasel. And in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And with a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was...
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was... But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out, even at the end?
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Сейчас еще окажется, что этот Сезар живой.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident in your version of events, then I think the answer should be having killed Caesar with his own hands. Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But...
An excellent answer. Though sadly, a little...
Is that right?
As a matter of fact, why would the real weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any...
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would say that Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for dark thought. I detest the happiness of others. In all its forms, I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true. And it will fill the void in...
That's some pretty heavy...
Now it all makes sense.
Does this story satisfy you, Linny?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my
Huh. That's right. What? Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House.
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as... Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was the most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it? You had...
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
10 years ago? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two... He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something? And you went to all this trouble. Why? Because you feel like you still...
We remember all our debts. However, 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one... But we did not forget.
And? What exactly did you take from me?
Free? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehood, I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with nostalgic value, fervent hopes and... Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became...
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found... Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your... He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, but that truth is gone now. And I guarantee...
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing... I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand...
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall. After which we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real...
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone are...
Lenny, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever... You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end up exactly...
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Lenny said, when you're ready, let's head outside and watch the...
But what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh.
All right. Well, let's go and watch Lenny's finale.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Linny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? One minute he was falling, and the next, he turned into flowers.
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. What a heart-stopping magic show. This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Linny has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale.
Looks like everyone really loved Linny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Linny anywhere. Where'd he go? Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one where he's... Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Linny's way of... Alright, let's go look for him there.
Я молчу пока, подожди. Блин, грустненько, на самом деле. Прикольная концовка, мне понравилась. Мне интересно, что за тип там был, который типа бухарик. Как будто это и есть Сезар, но с другой стороны, как-то это тупо было бы, не?
Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was...
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, suddenly feeling weight. Sometimes, I can't help but wonder did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or did he believe that it was his own slip-up right into...
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in...
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, Lynette and I had an agenda when we approached him. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make nifty. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional.
So that's why you sought Caesar?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by surprise that in all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, this was no longer about. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly...
Lenny...
Still worried about the way I feel? You really are, but don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the house of the hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me and Lynette everywhere we go. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death. That night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because I felt it for myself.
Yeah, cheer up, Lenny. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. Delicious food, fun toys, and the traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on, you know, traveler. Doesn't that kind of make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's why the darkness never consumed me and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember every precious ray of light that Alright, time to lighten this conversation up a little. What did you think?
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. We spent, Lenny.
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decided.
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, alright then. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand! We ain't going along with this!
Huh? My goodness, you're right! But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try this.
3?
Now, have another look around.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is...
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have...
Fine!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of...
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, fine. See ya! Shall we head back now, too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we...
Не, интересный сюжет. Мне понравился. Ну, развязка. Поначалу что-то скучновато было немного.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today.
Oh, please, Lenny, I'll only take a moment of your time. If...
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma...
That was quick.
Too late, bro. That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching up to do. Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma turning herself in must have something to do with Linny's performance.
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer ignore the voice of her conscience.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it. If that's all it took... Oh, I remember now. You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after the... Quickfire question. Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Linny did a private magic trick just for... Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon, guess what? Linny started...
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself.
No, I just...
What now? This is getting pretty awkward. What do we do, Travel?
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. The news about Gemma has already made waves, and I'll stop it. Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. There's... All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue.
Lynette?
Don't worry, I wasn't angry.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Блин, мне интересно, что там за бухарик был. Вряд ли они же просто так его туда добавили. А может, просто так, кого знает.
A good newspaper should be a lighthouse of truth. A good newspaper should be a lighthouse of truth. A good newspaper should be a lighthouse of truth.
Печально. Хиппи-энда не будет, значит.
Be a lighthouse of truth.
Так. Ну, как раз накрутку. Блин, что-то теперь основную сюжетку проходить вообще не хочется. Тут вот 2%. Тоже где их искать, фиг его знает. Здесь 10%. О, тут, кстати, я даже не заметил, как я вот эти на сотку сделал. Подожди, вот этот я помню. И вот этот помню, как эти два сделал, не помню даже. Тут 1%. Так, и Надзума, Фонтейн. Ой, и Надзума, и Манштадт. И Люэ. Там все на 100. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Так, подожди. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. И тут еще 6%. Всем еще дофига, блин, что надо закрывать. Экономия через А. А в экономии у меня в экономии тоже там мало. 83%. Блин, наверное, пойду я прогуляюсь. Потом попозже запущу еще сюжетку. Надо отдохнуть. Ладненько, давай. Пока. Удачи тебе там на Олимпиаде.
If we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story?